The aunt stands in that courtroom, tears streaming, voice shaking but steady. She looks directly at the man who killed her niece and says, "She didn't even become 13. Isabella Carlos was asleep in her own bed when bullets tore through her home. The shooters? They weren't even aiming for her. They missed their target and killed a child instead. And now, one of them sits in court, about to learn what the rest of his life looks like. Spoiler: he'll be 90 years old before he even gets a chance at freedom. Make it make sense. In every home, behind every closed door, there's a story waiting to be uncovered. Welcome to Dark Whispers, where we dive deep into the hidden truths of domestic crime and the relationships that turn deadly. If you're drawn to real stories, powerful insights, and the shadows most people avoid, you're in the right place. Subscribe now and step into the whispers they never wanted you to hear. Isabella Carlos was 12 years old, 12, still in middle school, still figuring out who she wanted to be, still living in that space between childhood and teenage years where everything feels possible. She had a backpack. She had school the next day. She had an aunt who loved her, a family that was planning for her future, watching her grow. They'd never see her turn 13, never see her go to prom, never see her experience her first love, her first date, any of the moments that make up a life. Her aunt, Danetta Dewberry, would later stand in a Montgomery County courtroom and tell the world what was stolen.
My niece was laying there sleeping, getting ready for school the next day. She deserved that. We would never get to see Bella go to prom, her first love, her first date, anything.
But on that night, Isabella didn't know any of this was coming. She went to bed like any other night, closed her eyes, fell asleep, safe in her own home, in her own bed, in her own neighborhood. She had no enemies. She had no beef with anyone. She was a child. Here's where it gets ridiculous. Social media. That's what started this. Not a robbery. Not self-defense. Not even a real confrontation. Just words on a screen. Antoine Benson and his brother got into it with some people online. Comments, posts, back and forth nonsense that should have ended with someone blocking somebody or just logging off. But instead of handling it like adults, instead of even handling it face-to-face if it was that serious, these two decided to grab guns. Not just any guns either. We're talking Dracos, AR-15s, high-powered rifles that can tear through walls, through cars, through anything in their path. The kind of weapons that don't just hurt the person you're aiming at. They destroy everything around them. And these two walked around with them, posted pictures with them, made videos showing off empty magazines like they were trophies. The judge would later call them out for exactly what they were.
And I've seen the videos and the pictures of all the boys with the Dracos and the ARs, a bunch of fake wannabe NBA young boys who can't look a person in their eyes who they have a beef with and say, "This is why I have a beef with."
Because that's what this was. Not gangsters, not soldiers, not people defending their lives or their families. Just young men playing dress-up with deadly weapons, trying to look tough on Instagram and Facebook. The judge didn't hold back.
Instead, they get these guns and they post on the gram, they post on Facebook, and they show videos and pictures of empty clips of what they just did, send it back to their own phone, portraying this sense of false bravado, toughness. Y'all saw, all of y'all weak. All of y'all soft in those pictures.
False bravado. That's the perfect way to describe it. Because real toughness isn't shooting into houses at night. Real toughness isn't aiming at people and missing so badly you kill a child. Real toughness isn't posting evidence of your crimes online for likes and comments. But hey, that's what they did. The beef escalated. The threats got more serious. And instead of walking away, instead of letting it go, Antoine Benson and his brother decided to act. They loaded up their weapons, got in a vehicle, and drove to a neighborhood where they thought their targets lived. They didn't verify. They didn't confirm. They just showed up and started shooting. Multiple homes got hit that night. Not one. Multiple. Bullets flying into houses where families were sleeping, where children were in their beds, where people had no idea they were even in danger. The Benson brothers weren't aiming carefully. They weren't trying to minimize harm. They were spraying bullets, sending rounds into homes, into walls, into windows, hoping to hit whoever they had beef with. They missed. Every single intended target walked away untouched. But Isabella Carlos, 12 years old, asleep in her bed, getting ready for school in the morning, she didn't walk away. She didn't get a chance to run, to hide, to call for help. The bullets found her while she slept. Her life ended because two men couldn't handle their emotions, couldn't put down their phones, couldn't think beyond their own egos for 5 seconds. Her aunt would describe that moment in court. My niece was laying there sleeping, getting ready for school the next day. That's it. That's all she was doing, existing, being a child, and it cost her everything. After the shooting, the brothers didn't turn themselves in. They didn't feel remorse. They posted on social media, videos of empty magazines, pictures with their guns, proof of what they'd just done, sent back to their own phones, shared with their followers, bragging about violence like it was an accomplishment, like they'd done something worth celebrating. The judge would later address this directly. Y'all soft, all of y'all soft in those pictures. Because that's what it was. Soft, weak, cowardly, shooting into homes at night, killing a child, and then flexing online like it made them hard. Girl. Isabella's family woke up to a nightmare. Their 12-year-old niece, their daughter, their Bella, gone. Not sick, not in an accident. Murdered. Shot in her own home by people who didn't even know she existed. People who weren't even trying to hurt her. People who just didn't care enough to think about who else might be in those houses when they pulled their triggers. The community was shaken. Parents started looking at their own children differently, holding them a little tighter, wondering if their block was next, if their home was safe, if a social media argument somewhere could end with bullets in their walls. Because that's what this case represented. Random, senseless violence that didn't discriminate, didn't target, didn't care. Just destruction for the sake of looking tough online.
New at 5, it's life in prison for the first of 2 brothers convicted in the shooting death of a 12-year-old while she slept. Hello, I'm Gabrielle Enright. James Brown is off. Today, a judge sentenced Antoine Benson. His first chance at parole is 65 years from now. News Center 7's John Bedell joins us live in Dayton. And John, you were in court for the sentencing today and heard from Isabella's family.
There was a lot of emotion inside one of the courtrooms, Gabby, inside the Montgomery County Courthouse right here off to my left. Some from the victim's family, even in some cases from the judge. In this case, both of them had strong words for a man convicted in connection with the little girl's murder. On Monday, Danetta Dewberry faced a convicted murderer and told him he robbed a young life.
She didn't even become 13.
Her niece, Isabella Carlos.
My niece was laying there sleeping, getting ready for school the next day. She deserved that. We would never get to see Bella go to prom. Her first love, her first date, anything.
Antoine Benson was convicted of his role in Isabella's murder. Police said gunfire from him and his brother missed their intended target. At sentencing, the judge did not hold back.
And I've seen the videos and the pictures of all the boys with the Dracos and the ARs, a bunch of fake wannabe NBA young boys who can't look a person in their eyes who they have a beef with and say, this is why I have a beef with you.
At trial, prosecutors said what led the brothers to spray bullets into several homes, including Isabella's, was a spat on social media.
Instead, they get these guns and they post on the gram, they post on Facebook, and they show videos and pictures of empty clips of what they just did, send it back to their own phone, portraying this sense of false bravado, toughness. Y'all saw, all of y'all weak. All of y'all saw from those pictures.
Benson had this to say before he learned his sentence.
I would like to apologize to the family and also apologize to my family, putting them through this situation. And that's really it.
Isabella's aunt said she wanted Benson to ask God for forgiveness every day he's in prison. And then she said this about his crimes.
I want you to think about it. And you think about it hard. Think about it hard, here. Think about what you and your brother did to my family and these people's family. Y'all think about it, because it makes no sense.
Benson's sentence was 67 to 72 and a half years to life in prison. Here's what that means. That's an assumed life sentence here in Ohio with, if he behaves in prison, his first shot at parole in 67 years. If not, the state prison system can make him wait as long as 72 and a half years for his first shot at parole. Even on the low end of that stretch right there, with his jail time credit, Benson will be 90 when he's up for parole for the first time. We're live in Dayton this afternoon. I'm John Bedell, News Center 7.
The evidence didn't hide. It couldn't. When you post your crimes on social media, when you send videos of empty magazines to your own phone, when you brag about what you just did online, you're basically handing investigators a roadmap. The Benson brothers thought they were untouchable, thought the posts made them look powerful. What they actually did was create a digital trail that led straight to their arrest. Detectives didn't have to work hard to connect the dots. The social media posts gave them motive, the beef, the threats, the back and forth that escalated into violence. The ballistics gave them the weapons. The videos gave them proof, and the bodies, the bullet holes in multiple homes, the crime scenes scattered across a neighborhood, that gave them the violence. Isabella's family had to relive the worst night of their lives over and over as the investigation unfolded, answering questions, looking at evidence, trying to make sense of why their 12-year-old niece was dead over something that had absolutely nothing to do with her. There's no closure in that. There's no answer that makes it okay. The community wanted justice, but justice doesn't bring back a child. It doesn't undo the trauma, doesn't erase the fear that settled into that neighborhood after the shooting. Parents were scared. Kids were confused. And Isabella's family was left planning a funeral for a girl who should have been planning her next birthday. Prosecutors built their case methodically. They had the social media evidence. They had witnesses who heard the shots, who saw the aftermath, who could place the Benson brothers in the area. They had forensic evidence linking the bullets to the weapons. And they had the videos. Those stupid, arrogant videos that the brothers posted themselves, thinking they were flexing when really they were confessing. The case was solid, airtight. There was no mystery about who did this or why. The only question left was what the consequences would be. Antoine Benson and his brother were arrested, both of them charged in connection with Isabella's murder, both of them facing serious time. The evidence was overwhelming, the kind of case where the defense doesn't have much room to maneuver because the defendants literally filmed themselves celebrating the crime. At trial, prosecutors laid it all out. They showed the jury the social media posts that started the beef. They showed the videos of the brothers with their weapons, the empty magazines, the bravado. They explained how an online argument turned into a decision to shoot up multiple homes in a residential neighborhood. They walked the jury through the ballistics, the trajectory of the bullets, the moment those rounds entered Isabella's home and ended her life. They presented testimony from Isabella's family. Her aunt, Danetta Dewberry, had to sit in that courtroom and describe what was taken from them, had to explain that Isabella was just sleeping, just getting ready for school, just being a kid. Had to tell a room full of strangers about the niece she'd never see graduate, never see fall in love, never see become the woman she was supposed to be. The defense didn't have much to say. What could they say? The evidence was there. The videos were there. The bodies were there. You can't argue self-defense when you shoot into a home where a child is sleeping. You can't claim it was an accident when you post about it online afterward. You can't say you didn't mean to hurt anyone when you fired high-powered rifles into multiple houses. The jury didn't take long. Antoine Benson was convicted of his role in Isabella Carlos's murder. His brother would face his own trial, his own reckoning. But for now, the focus was on Antoine and what he'd done. The conviction didn't feel like a victory to Isabella's family. It felt necessary, but not sufficient. Because no verdict brings back a 12-year-old girl. No guilty verdict undoes the pain, the loss, the empty seat at the dinner table, the bedroom that stays exactly how she left it because no one can bear to change it. But it was something. It was accountability. It was a statement that you can't kill a child and walk away. That social media beef isn't an excuse. That false bravado and fake toughness come with real consequences. Now came sentencing. And this is where the courtroom became less about legal procedure and more about raw, unfiltered truth. This case is about more than one murder. It's about a pattern. Social media beef turning into real-world violence. Young men with access to high-powered weapons and no sense of the consequences. False bravado replacing real conflict resolution. And innocent people, children, paying the price. Isabella Carlos deserved to grow up. She deserved to go to prom, to experience her first love, to figure out who she wanted to be. She deserved to wake up the next morning and go to school. She deserved a life. And two men with guns and egos took that from her over nothing, over words on a screen, over fake toughness and social media performance. Her aunt asked Antoine Benson to think about what he did, to think about it hard, every single day. That's the legacy of this case. The weight of what was taken, the reality that no amount of prison time brings Isabella back, and the hope that maybe, just maybe, someone will see this story and choose differently. Put the gun down. Log off. Walk away. Choose literally anything other than violence. Because Isabella Carlos can't make choices anymore, but everyone else still can.